Benhaim, here to talk to us about hemp and all of its many uses.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this beautiful sunny afternoon at the planting. I'm going to be talking to you about hemp and the environment. That was 100% hemp didgeridoo, made completely from the earth, completely from plants. The pigments were from the earth. There is no glues or resins in it. One of the things I'll be talking about later today. But I want to start here. It's been 80 years. 80 years. Oh, we're going to have fun with this clicker today. 80 years, the answer to our environment has been illegal. 80 years. And it has been simple. It's been here all along. That one plant with infinite possibilities, infinite opportunities in food, fiber, fuel, medicine, shelter, paper, plastics, all good for the earth. And it is here that we're going to learn more about that. It's not new. It's been with us for 10,000 years. All the way through all different civilizations for as far back as history records go. Even to new modern times, not just in ancient times. This is the ancient times for myself, when I used to promote hemp as a hippie. That also worked, very similar to the pharaohs. And you can see here, the pharaohs are also planting cannabis, and it's been documented as far back as history records go. And it, in fact, built the world. The Gutenberg Bible was even printed on hemp paper. So that kind of means the Pope has put his signature on hemp, saying it's okay. But it all changed in 1937 when the United States outlawed the most regenerative crop on earth. It was a significant time, and the smear campaign by the petrochemical industry, by the media magnates, by the timber companies, all made hemp, which was absolutely a crop that had been used for all of this time, made it absolutely crazy. But that wasn't the truth. We know the truth now today. Information is being shared, and we all know what that truth is. But I'm going to be sharing you some updates. And we all know that hemp and the psychoactive cousin is kind of the same plant, but is separate. One is not an excuse for the other. It's just one of the many uses of hemp that we're going to be talking about today, because it's the same species. It's just a different plant. One is legal, one is, slightly different. One will get you high, but nobody's trying to build a house from it. And you could smoke a field of hemp, and all you're going to do is get a headache, in fact. And it's more about biology than politics. Hemp is low THC. Marijuana, cannabis, for medical uses is very high in THC. And this is what it looks like. It's a beautiful crop. It's one of the most beautiful crops I've ever seen. It's a plant that I'm personally in love with, and I plant myself. In fact, if one of the people that promoted it has been God. If you believe the Bible and you follow the Bible, well, it is in the Bible where it says God has given you every herb-bearing seed on plant on this earth, and that includes hemp. And it's now legal in over 50 countries around the world. This is now a circular plant supporting regenerative agriculture for all of these different uses. Every part of the plant, and we're going to learn about that today, is used. There is absolutely no waste at all. In fact, there's been 25,000 known uses of hemp. Are all commercially viable? Maybe not, but a number are, and we're going to learn about those today. But nothing else that we know on this planet today grows with all of these things that it can do. So I'm going to mainly be talking about hemp farming, hemp building, hemp foods, and hemp plastics. There are some examples of these you can touch and feel, and come and talk to me after to learn more about them, because it's been a journey for me. In fact, this year is 30 years since I've been working and promoting this plant. I created the first hemp plastic frisbee, here's one here today, 30 years ago. And I was the first person to do that since Henry Ford, who was the first person in history records to show that plastics can be made from plants. And today, that company is doing a lot of work. And it's been a long time. I spent 18 years in this country trying to make hemp foods legal, trying to share the message that this nutritional plant was good for you and not a drug. It took me 18 years before Hemp Foods Australia became legal. And really, it's it was compared and just in the same category as morphine. And it took 18 years for me to take it back to the world and do this on TV. Just throw hemp seeds around and just have fun and make all these hemp-proof food products. Then, at the same time, where people started to catch on, I started promoting it in the UK railway stations. Then I took it to the London tube stations. I've taken it to the Japanese underground. And as well, I've talked on the Tokyo stages about this. So there is momentum happening. This is real today. Even in Times Square, we've promoted hemp in different forms. Eventually, it's now public companies in Australia are now promoting hemp. So 30 years of advocacy and promotion of this plant actually seem to have paid off to some degree. And now the first ladies of nations, this is the first lady of Japan, for example, are now communicating with me. And I've been, as I said, this is real. The real data is there. We have the blueprint on how to do this. I'm not trying to say we need to discover and work out how to use this industrially anymore. We have all of the answers. It has all been done. And in fact, I now work for the US government. I work for the Australian government and supported the Senate only 2 weeks ago. I work for the Middle East countries. I work in Asia. We have manufacturing all over the world. And I've written 1 or 2 books also on this subject to share this information, because people don't understand that this is no longer a dream. This is not some kind of goal to make cannabis recreational for everyone. That's completely separate to these major uses of how hemp is being used. And sometimes I take a break and lay in the grass. So this is me literally laying in the grass, my kind of grass, having a break on a Sunday afternoon. So before we go further, I want to talk to you specifically about what this plant can actually do. So I'm going to get into a little bit of data and a bit of actual use. So food is something that I really care about, and I've got some hemp seeds over here and some seed mixes over here. It is probably the most nutritional plant you've probably never eaten. I don't know. Put your hands up if you've eaten hemp today. Oh, yeah. So that's about 60% of you. So we're 6 out of 10 all the way there. Keep going. Keep sharing the message to people who haven't consumed hemp. Because one hemp seed contains all the essential fatty acids that you need to keep a good immune system, looking young skin. I'm 80 years old, and I don't look 80, do I? Thank you. You just say no. You don't, Paul. And high in protein as well. It contains everything from 24% protein from the raw seed to 30% for the hulled seed. And we can make now 80% pure natural protein without any chemical processes, as well as making hemp flour for breads and hemp oil to go on your salads. These are the raw ingredients that are now manufactured in Australia and manufactured throughout the world. It's an extremely healthy food product, and I've been eating it every day of my life for more than 30 years now. It is one seed and it has endless possibilities. We can use it in producing milk. We produce baked goods from it. We make protein powders. There's hemp burgers, hemp pastas, hemp miso soups. There is pretty much very little you can't make hemp into because it is a nutritious protein and high fat, good fats, and a very important good fat containing seed. So it is something that works for nearly everybody. In fact, it's really good for breastfeeding mums because it's the only way where mums can get the essential fatty acids that they need, which come out in their breast milk for the development of child brain development. So it's a really important seed for us all. And it's not the only use of hemp. Building, yes, we can actually produce hemp houses that pull carbon from the sky and lock them in to where we actually live. And we have a serious problem today. Most of us live in a house that is built from plastic. We live in a plastic bag. I'm sorry to tell you that, but most of us live in a plastic bag today. Now, if you just imagine putting a plastic bag over your head, do you think that feels good? Because I know that when I'm in a regular house, that's how it feels. Now, if you open all your windows and all your doors all the time, great. And in Australia, that's not always that practical, as you may know. So I want to live in a breathable home. And that's where the hempcrete solution comes in. It's not just a breathable home, but it is something that locks up the carbon from the ground, from the atmosphere into the buildings for a long time to come. It's also extremely thermally insulative, and it looks beautiful in my opinion. I love the natural look and feel, and you can still have it in any design you like. So hemp houses don't need to look like a straw building. It doesn't need to look something that is hippie or with curved architecture if that's not what you like. It is all about the breathability. It's about pest resistance, mold resistance. It is one of the most phenomenal materials to build your house from. And hempcrete is also, as I said, carbon negative. It holds thermal mass. You can build your kitchens from them. That's a kitchen built in Queensland from hemp boards. So you can actually make hemp boards from this today. So all these different forms of hemp can be part of your building. And as I said, really importantly, it stores carbon. Compared to the amount, 40 to 60 tons is what a conventional concrete and steel home emits during construction. Whereas for hempcrete, you're actually storing, that's negative, minus 2 to 5 tons of CO2. So it's such a significant difference. So if you don't want to think about yourself, if you not just want to live in a breathable home, if that's not good enough for you and you're happy with a plastic bag, okay. But think about the environment, I suggest. And these next generations of hemp homes are being used. This picture here is of a factory making large-scale hemp panels. And hemp wood is now being produced, and even structurally supportive as well. This is a company up in Queensland, and they are open today. This is their factory. They are producing hemp boards in mass, and only this year. So don't get me wrong, this has not always been there, but it is actually happening. You can buy hemp tiny homes. You can buy hemp panels today. Right now, Australian grown, Australian produced, good for the earth, good for your health. And it's not new. Hempcrete homes have been built all around the world. This is some beautiful old French buildings here. This is a large brewery. The entire structure is made from hemp. You know, they doesn't have to look in a particular way. And on the bottom, this is what hemp panels look like, where they produce hempcrete panels, and they just ship the panels and they just put them down inside, a bit like big Lego building blocks. So these are just some examples of the way that you can build with hemp. Now, bedding. Yes, you can make your own bedding from hemp, but I'm not going to be talking about your bedding. I'm going to be talking about our family's bedding. And by our family, I mean pets, horses, animals. Hemp is actually 4 times more absorbent than straw. And yet we've been letting our animals lay on straw because, well, I don't know why. Why have we? When we can use something that is 4 times better for horses. So I can tell you all of the best horse breeders around the world now use hemp. It is low dust, it's antimicrobial, as well as being the most absorbent thing. And it's not just for horses. Whatever your pet may be, it is now produced in Australia, and it is available today. These are the things that hemp, this one plant, can all produce. So we've gone from food, we've gone to building, and we've gone to our pet store. And next is textiles. This is me in Japan with some stalks of hemp. They are very neat in Japan, not like some other places. And this is what hemp looks like after it's been harvested in Japan. And why is hemp important for textiles? The wardrobe crisis. If you haven't heard of the wardrobe crisis, well, I hope you're going to listen to some of these facts today. Because number one, cotton uses 25% of all the pesticides on the planet. For every single crop, for every single use of anything ever grown, one crop, cotton, uses 25% of everything. Is anyone wearing cotton in this room? Oops, it's okay. Thank you for admitting, firstly. Yeah, me too. I probably have some cotton. This is partly cotton, these trousers. This is hemp, of course. I won't show you my undies, but you can trust me on that one. Fast fashion emits more CO2 than aviation and shipping combined. So all the airplanes in the world, all you think all got that bad fuel they're using, cotton and produces more. In fact, there's over 92 million tons, 92 million tons of textile waste every single year. The massive amount of fashion that is produced and never used is just absolutely ridiculous, and is only starting to be recycled today. So why don't we use something that can be that's 3 times stronger than cotton, uses virtually no insecticides, uses nearly 90% less water. It grows fast, it regenerates the soil. Did you know that 40% of all clothes made are never used? 40%, it's not like 1 or 2%, 40% of every single thing that is made. So go to the op shop, buy natural fibers, do what you need to do, but please don't be part of the 40% of everything never actually used. We are growing the future of fiber, the future of materials here in Australia. We don't yet produce textiles in Australia, but it's coming. And I'll explain more about that at the end and how we can make a difference to, if you really care about this fact. Because the water impact alone is 0.3% of that of cotton by growing hemp. So it's massive, and water is going to be important in the times to come. The textile process, I don't know if you know, but it's not simple. It starts from the stalk. It includes retting, which basically separates the lignin and cellulose, different components from the stalk, from each other. It involves scutching and hackling and spinning and weaving until you get to a fabric. So it's a multi-stage process. The Chinese got it right. Americans are starting to get it right now. Australia, maybe we're next. So I mentioned the environmental parts of this so many times because it's massive. I mean, how can you ignore some of these facts? So next time you go and buy a piece of clothing, even if it's got a fun thing like hemp farmer on it, be careful and wonder, what is it made of? Where was it grown? Where did it come from? Yeah. If you're recycling and reusing something, great. You're not one of that 40% of new things that are not being used ever at all. And water. Don't you think water matters in Australia today? I think water is going to matter more and more as we move ahead in this world. I think there's a lot to really consider when we're growing crops that produce water, or when we're producing anything that requires water. So hemp, in all of these carbon emissions, water usage, land usage, is better than cotton, it's better than timber, and it's better than concrete significantly. Better than all of these things. So let's grow hemp. Anyone want to grow hemp? Good. And it's not just us, it's the brands. The brands want to buy it too. So there are Levi's, Patagonia, Adidas, they are coming back. It's what they used to do. They used to use hemp. Now they're coming back and doing it again. So, if you're going to support a brand that is reusing hemp again. You can buy now Adidas trainers made of hemp. You can buy Levi jeans that were originally made of hemp and now are made of hemp again. There are great things that we can do today. So, not only can it produce textiles that we wear, but these are called geotextiles. Geotextiles are materials used on roofs. They're the insulation panels that you can use in buildings. They're erosion control, weed mulch matting. My garden has now got all made from hemp mulch beds. Road-based stabilization, acoustic panels are all made from this material here. All different thicknesses and acoustic properties. This is made from 100% hemp, basically, or it can be made with other fibers to make it into matting that you can buy now, made in Queensland, again, where we are today. So if that's not enough uses from one plant, all of these things, one plant, I'm just going to keep reminding you of that, one plant, to do nearly everything that we need, and we have plastics. The plastics issue is big. It's something that we built the world on. Anyone sitting here on a chair is sitting on plastics. Most people wearing clothes are wearing plastics. Most of your house and nearly everything you touch has plastics. If there's one person here today that has not got any plastics on them or not using plastics in any form, come and see me after, because I'm really impressed. Because it's really hard to do that these days. Plastics are everywhere. We'll try that again. I don't know if you've heard of this. It is an official place on the planet that can be seen from space. You can start with a plastic bag. It's as simple as this. But it destroys an entire habitat. That's a bird, a seabird, full of garbage. I'm not showing this to you to make you feel guilty, but I'm suggesting that we become extra aware, not just of our own use, because I'm sure everyone here cares, but look at others as well. We're responsible for our fellow human beings because we are one, we are together. So looking after our environment is critical. 8 billion tons of plastic is what we, the human race, we are one, have created. 91% of 8 billion tons is never recycled. That's it. It never goes away. It's here forever. We created it. We're responsible for this. And it's everywhere. It's in Antarctica. If you take a breath now, please, can everyone take a breath? Because it's... thank you. You just consumed plastics. 11 tons per second of plastics are produced. It's in your body. 50,000 particles of microplastics enter a human body every year now. We wonder why some of these diseases are being created and are getting worse. I think this is one part of the problem. And it's just increasing. It's not slowing down. 10 million tons of that plastic goes into the ocean, which is why I started off with plastics in the ocean. But how much of that is going into us? There is nowhere on the planet we have tested that we cannot find microparticles of plastics anymore. And we don't need it. We can use plants instead of plastics today. It is a choice. It is a choice. And if you don't think it is, then keep watching. Because I've been doing this for 30 years, and we now produce pellets that any injection molder can use to produce any product. I was wondering, what product should I make from hemp plastic? It's like, no, I need to supply these raw materials as cheap, cost-effectively as possible to be able to use in everyone else's machinery so everyone else can make the products. You need to make these products from hemp plastics today. And people are. It is beginning. This is this hemp plastic tray. This is what I made in Asia with a Thai plastic factory. These crates here were made in Africa from hemp plastics. We're making these sheets in America. We're making 3D hemp plastic material in Japan. It is happening. It's real. This is no longer a dream. They work in every type of modern injection molding machinery. These are some of the products that our customers make. Cannabis packaging, surprise, surprise. Cutlery. You know, there's that look like juggling clubs, but they're for physios to use. Eskies. You know, there are many things that are made from plastics that you can make from hemp today. And one of our biggest clients is in the wastewater industry. You won't even see these uses of hemp plastics today, but water on a municipal level is being filtered through plastic media. Think about that. We're worried about the microplastics entering our body, and the clean water that we get is filtered through plastic. So we are now exchanging some of that in millions of pounds, of plastics. I'm working at millions of tons, millions of pounds of plastics today to make from hemp plastics rather than regular plastics in the municipal water cleaning industry. So this is where it's working today, and we're just beginning the solutions. The point is, they are available. It's not a dream anymore. It is happening. We are decarbonizing the supply chain from these hemp plastics. So ABS emits 3.7 tons of CO2 per ton of ABS used. Okay, so it's bad. Minus 3.7 tons it's producing. Hemp plastic actually sequesters. The opposite side doesn't emit anything, actually sequesters 1.6 ton for every ton of it being used. So that's a net benefit of over 5 tons of carbon emissions. We have the solutions. We can do this together. And it's not a concept. This is being produced at scale today. This is our first factory where we're producing hemp plastics. It's a bit dusty. Plastics and hemp, natural building materials aren't clean. They didn't clean this up for a video. But I just want to show you that this is not being done in a small building in my back garden, which is where I start most of my businesses. And I still love doing that. But this is real. This is actually one of the smaller lines, but it is producing, and this is hemp plastics coming out, hopefully, as we see. That is hemp plastics being produced and being filled up into these 1-ton bags or 1.5-ton bags that we ship out all over the world. But we don't want to do this in one place. We don't want to own this industry. We want to be able to take this technology and produce it locally, because we don't want to produce plastics in one place and ship it all over the world. Why would we do that when we can grow hemp anywhere? We can build hemp houses anywhere. We can build hemp food products anywhere. We can make hemp plastics anywhere and produce them into products anywhere. We can localize this concept. And that's a really important thing. So yes, we've started in the US. We ship hemp plastics in truckloads now. This is not a small industry anymore. We are making a difference. So if you've got a new product idea, if you've got a new plan or something that you want to make from hemp plastics, then contact us. And I'll give you our contact details at the end. So there's more. There's more. It's not just food and building and textiles and plastics. There's even more things that you can do. Charcoal. Yeah, we can actually make charcoal instead of from coal from the ground. We can actually make charcoal from the raw biomass. So from this crop that we can grow in a very short amount of time. And this was inspired by my Japanese friends. And they showed me how they were producing carbon. When I realized that this can be done in scale, another amazing use of this product. Batteries. Does anyone use batteries anywhere? Yeah, I got one in my hand. You probably got one in your pocket as well. You can now make batteries from graphite, with graphene, basically. That can be now made of hemp. It has been done. I've seen them. I played with them. They're made from hemp. So we don't need to be under the control of China, who controls 90% of the global graphite that they have to take out of the ground. We can actually produce that from this same plant. Again, another use. Do you need any more uses? There are more. I can go on, 25,000 apparently. But I just want to give you a few ideas of grounded ideas that actually happen. I always imagined a house built of hemp that was actually a battery as well. So you can actually store your own power in your house, until I realized I don't really want to live in a battery, even if it is made from hemp. But it is possible, and you can actually build your batteries outside. So yeah, this isn't a dream. It is happening. These are real solutions available today. Biochar. Of course, we need to use biochar. I'm sure you've heard, if you're here at the planting, you have heard about biochar. You understand the benefits about locking carbon up in the soil, which is a great place for your nutrients to come. Through pyrolysis, you can use hemp, again, as the raw biomass to produce biochar, to produce, again, whatever crops that you need. Hemp being number one, because it has so many uses. We need to eat foods. Oh, that's right, you can eat hemp foods as well. There are many things that you can do with this plant. I know this is a talk about hemp. I'm sorry. I don't usually go off on the medicine side, but I'd be remiss not to include medicines. Why wouldn't you include medicines? So I don't want you to be scared about hemp and getting high. I want you to know that it is actually a real medicine. And it's not just tetrahydrocannabinol that is the medicine. It's THC, which is the stuff that generally people know is getting you high. But there's all these other ingredients. CBG, THCA, CBGA, there's CBN, CBNA, CBL. There's all of these different compounds that all come from that cannabis plant, and they all have different uses. These are some of the uses here. Again, it's as many uses as there are with hemp. There are many medical properties that come from the flower that hemp comes from. I'm not going to read all of these because it's ridiculous. It's nearly unbelievable. You wouldn't believe it if it wasn't actually factually true. I'm not making this up. I'm not selling you this. I'm just sharing with you the things that I have learned over my 30 years of career, because I want you to skip to the point where, yeah, let's use this. So it's an analgesic, a bone stimulant, an anti-kinetic, an antibacterial, it's antipsychotic. It has many, many different uses. And the terpenes in this plant are phenomenal. Terpenes are things that you smell. Everything that you smell is a terpene. Yeah? Cannabis actually contains many terpenes, and all those terpenes have a benefit. So you don't need to smoke it, you don't need to get high, but you can just smell it. It's like smelling a rose. Smelling a rose is good for your heart. Hence the connection between roses and love. If you cared for your partner, you would give her a rose to care for her heart, because it actually scientifically, physically helps your heart, the terpenes found in rose. There's many, many different things around that route. I could go down that rabbit hole, but again, I'm not going to talk too much about cannabinoids, because I teach doctors, and I teach doctors because not that they don't know. They don't know all of these things. It's not common knowledge. Cannabinoids weren't included in the requirements for doctors to learn about this medicine. So I've been fascinated by that and learning more and deciding I've been helping doctors learn so that they can help and support the people around them. And one more step further, I'm sorry, but this is just where I go with my career. I found out that mental health benefits of using cannabis as a psychedelic is next level again. So how can we think about the environment without thinking about our mental health? Okay? I don't know about you, but if you go out in the world today, there are people with mental health challenges, and we need to look after people with mental health challenges. I have one. I think we all have them to some degree. We all have ADHD or autism to some degree. Yeah? So how do we get to the root cause of that? We need to find the root cause of our trauma. How do we heal the root cause of our trauma? Well, we need to look at it first. And if we can't do that by ourselves, then we go to a psychologist. The world of psychology has been around for so many years, but the problem is it hasn't improved much, really, in decades. Psychedelic medicine is the next biggest thing, and most psychologists that I work with around the world have realized that actually there's plants like cannabis, there's also psilocybin, MDMA, and all these other plants that we used to, again, connect with recreational use, but when used properly, I'm not promoting any of these plants for any use whatsoever, but when used properly under the right guidance, they can be significantly supportive of mental health issues.
We would like to remind you what you already know, that you were born perfect, that you were born with all the tools necessary to sustain life, that you were the very essence of balance. And then somewhere along the way, you got sidetracked, interrupted, distracted. You became convinced that you were no longer perfect, that your body somehow forgot how to take care of itself, that the instructions that came with the box were lost forever, that you needed intervention. We would like to introduce you to you again. We are here to remind every living, breathing cell in your perfect body that it knows how to heal itself, strengthen itself, and respond intuitively to the world around it. That you are a simple switch waiting to be engaged. You have a body that is primed to function at its full capacity by simply being reminded what it already knows. Say hello to you.
Where I want to be, but I guess I'm already there.
Because you're perfect, just the way you are. And that is an advert that we made for one of our hemp companies in terms of its health. Because I just want to remind you, you're all perfect. And if you work in harmony with nature, there's nothing more that you need to do. Okay, let's talk about farming, because we're talking about a crop. We're getting too serious there, I thought. Let's talk about farming. Let's get grounded. Let's get back to the earth, because this is the plant that grows from seed to harvest from 90 days. 90 days to do all of those things. And where we live in Australia, we can grow 4 crops a year. What are we doing? Why aren't we growing hemp today? Cotton super fast crop, grows in 150 to 180 days. Timber, and I love trees. I planted lots of trees this weekend. Yay! Who planted trees this weekend? Yay! I really wanted to plant some hemp next to those trees. Yeah. So if you want to come see me for seeds and you want to drop them. Anyway, I can't do that. But I would like to. And why can't I do that? We'll get there in a second. But this one crop, 90 days, fast-growing, carbon-capturing, high-yield and sustainable crop, it's ridiculous. It's better than cotton. It's better than timber. It's better than concrete for all of these different uses. It is something that I really want to see being grown everywhere because 1/3 of the world's topsoil has gone in just 100 years. I don't know, I was with a guy from the dark sky yesterday showing us how big the universe is and how long humans have been here, which is a tiny blip in the big world that we live in. And in that time, just in the last 100 years, we have destroyed 1/3 of our world's topsoils. That is why composting counts. That is why backyard gardening counts. That is why it's really important. Okay, really, really important for us to do all of the things around nature, getting our hands back in dirt, back in the soil. And hemp is part of that because it has a 2-meter taproot. It goes all the way down into the soil. It grows in all different types of soil. The soil can be sandy, it can be clayey, it can be limestone, whatever it is, it will go and find its way down. It will break up the soil and it will create a new earth. It will create a new earth. It brings the nutrients up into its leaves. The leaves aren't used that much, believe it or not, and they fall back into the soil and they produce that soil. They're bringing those nutrients from deep in the soil and making that topsoil again. It's part of the cycle that we need to look at, part of composting. It's nature's way of composting. So it can pull the things deep, whatever that means, and bring it up. It can lock carbon into the root system. It builds nutrients below. It is building our new oil, a new earth. New oil. It is the new oil. And it is used, again, for PFAS removal. For the chemicals in Chernobyl. Yes, that Chernobyl, hemp was planted, it really was planted, to remove the waste from the soil. Even nuclear waste. It can get rid of anything from the soil and take it and in a way where we can go and move it and store it. So it can replenish our soil. It can replenish the earth that we live in. Carbon, it is the new future. It is the new understanding that we have how we care about our soil. And as I said, 1.6 tons per ton of hemp grown is what's sequestered from the earth. And we can't plant our way out of this anymore. We can't keep doing this to our earth. It's not fair on our future generations. It's not fair. Just because we can't see it and it's not in our suburbs, it doesn't mean it's not there. So we need to share pictures like this. True, in real life, my experience is we need to share pictures like this because this is what makes a difference, that there is a cash crop here where farmers can actually make money when used as part of an entire system that actually locks up carbon. More carbon than timber, cotton, or concrete by far, and we can make money by producing all of these different products. So we can produce this much per hectare per year. Again, depending on how many crops we grow, this is how much we can produce. In fact, one hectare of hemp can produce over 20 tons of biomass per year. This is the carbon saved from that 20 tons of biomass, which can be grown 4 times a year. The numbers are ridiculous, and my goal is millions of hectares. My goal has never been just to grow 1 hectare, but if you can only grow 1 hectare, if you can only grow 1 square meter, grow 1 square meter, because if we all did that, 1 million hectares is nothing. We have all of the land, seeds are available, and it's legal here. Just to be clear, all this is legal. There is no problem anymore with growing hemp. You can do it. Biodiversity. And I love that trees I planted here 15 years ago now attract butterflies and bees. And I love coming here and I love planting more for the next 15 years for more of that to happen. And hemp does it too. We look after the birds and bees, which are absolutely critical to our future. If we don't have these plants, and if we only focus on monocultures, we have a serious problem. We have such a serious problem already, and we have a serious solution here. So I'm focusing on the solution for you because we have a regenerative crop. We have a plant where nothing is wasted. There is nothing that is not used. There is no part of this plant that we cannot use or reuse again and again. We need to move from this extraction and taking from this earth. We need to become more of a hemp economy. We need to focus on plant-based economy, on sustainable, regenerative options, and they exist. They're here. I'm sharing some with you. There's some of the uses of hemp. There's a lot of them. 25,000 uses, and I've only shared with you half a dozen today. And they're real projects. If you want to get more political, 10 out of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are met with hemp. That's why I was invited to the United Nations and the COP conferences to be part of all these politicians sharing the message. You know, did they listen to me? I don't know, really. They were kind of busy talking about energy and oil. I'm like, hey, hemp. And they're like, huh, go away. But we're making efforts. I'm getting invited to these places. This plant, it's amazing. I am so grateful for being part and a spokesperson for this plant. So I'm really here to help each and every one of you to follow my vision. Maybe this is our vision. I don't know. If you have a better vision, come and share it with me, because I want to live in a way where we live in carbon negative streets, where we're not extracting, where we're giving back, we're working more in harmony with nature. We're living in breathable homes, so we're actually connected with nature to start with. We've got soil all around us. We've got plants all around us. I don't mind if we have flying vehicles all around us as well. But can they be made from hemp plastic at least, running on hemp batteries? Yes, they can, is the answer. This is my vision. This is what I want to create around the world in hubs, based everywhere. This vision of how to put it all together is what I've realized I've been working my career towards. And now that's what I offer. One story where all of this can be done. But of course, it can't be done in your back garden, but you could be part of it. Okay, so I mainly work with governments and big corporations and new countries wanting to start this process where they want to put in an entire regional hub. I was talking to the Senate committee less than 2 weeks ago, and they were saying, what do we need to become a regional hub here in Australia? It's great questions. Finally, those questions are being asked rather than me saying, hey, listen, we should do this. They're now asking, what do you need? And we have the answers. As I said earlier, we have that blueprint. So I want to see this. I mean, I'm seeing it here. We see it here. The children are so happy in nature, so happy when we're talking about soil compost and we're connected with everything that we're doing. It is happening. It is happening. It's hempening, I like to say. Thank you. So, yeah. My stepdaughter, you know, it should be all kids should be growing up with this plant. It's absolutely obvious. So if you want to create a new earth together, then it is really, really simple. If you want to be part of this vision, part of this future, part of the blueprint for a post-fossil-based society where farmers are supported, where supply chains start in the paddock, here, right under our feet, where we can support our children and their children to come, where we can have blue skies, where we can be sustainable, where we can live in cities built from hemp. Because cities make sense, they're environmentally friendly, and they don't need to be made in the way they are. There are smart, green, sustainable cities, and we need to live in a world where we're not throwing these tons and tons of plastics into the ocean every year, and we don't need to. We have the solutions. They exist. So we can build this world. We can build it without microplastics. We can replenish our soils. And we can start that supply chain now in the paddock. But it requires every one of you. It requires participation. You are all part of this. I don't care what you do, where you come from. You are all responsible. And you are the most responsible people I know because you're here listening. So share this message, share what can be done, share the positivity of this message. I wanted this to be a positive talk, so I'm not feeling down about some of the stats I shared, but they're real. We have to live in a real world before we make a real change. And what does that real change involve? Infinite possibilities. Who ever thought that I would be standing in a field like this, far as hemp around me, as far as I can see? When I first started this, it was a dream. But now it's real. But now there's another dream. It's for all of us to share. And what stops us? Really, who is the cause? What is the cause? Now, we all like to blame somebody. I've learned that in my experience. Well, it's their fault. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's them, not us. We are all together. But let's be aware. Is it processing or infrastructure? Is it finance? Is it regulation? Is it consumer awareness? Where is that bottleneck? Where is the problem? None of those there's no scientific problems left. We fixed them all. There are a lot of political issues. So talking to our politicians, talking to the people who can actually support these major hubs, that's definitely part of it. And financial. Yes, we do need more funds into this industry because right now, when I go to big funds and produce the big picture for them, they say, that's great. Makes sense. Yeah, it makes money. Yeah, it supports the earth. But we make more money in supermarkets, sorry. That's the response I still get today. So, yeah, we need people who care a little bit more about, just the dollar. I'm not saying do it because it doesn't make money. It does make money. I know many people making money from this industry who do it right. And that's another detail, but doing it right is really important. Don't make the same mistakes that myself and my colleagues have made all over the world. We'll help you. We'll help you shortcut all that. We want everyone to succeed in this, and it can be done today. So I'm not waiting anymore. I told the Senate when they asked me a few weeks ago, I was like, I don't need permission anymore from you guys. We're doing this anyway. That's what I told them. Because it's like, yeah, you ask me what I want. Here's what I want, but I'm getting on with it. I'm not going to sit and wait around for anybody because I can make a difference. I can take action today. We can take action today for us. So grow it. Please grow it. It's simply a plant. Yeah? If a license costs you too much, I'm not sure what it costs these days, but it's a few $100. If you can't afford a few $100, I respect that. But if you can afford just a few $100, if I can get a license, fill out a bit of paper, it's not that hard. Grow it. Show people. Be proud of it. It's a plant that has all these different uses. Build with it. Yeah, that same plant you can grow, you can build with. I hope to do that here at Woodford, this year even. I hope that we can grow hemp here at Woodford. Thank you. Thank you. We want to grow hemp here, and we want to run workshops, not just to build here for Woodford, but we want to teach everybody how to do it in their back garden. We want to show you how 1 acre of land can turn into a house that you can build, you can grow, you can be in control of. You don't need anyone else. Yeah? And we want to build with it. We want to build pizza ovens with it. We want to build many things with it. And we want to share that information so you are empowered to make these choices yourself. I want you to eat it. That's the simplest thing, seriously. Eat it every day. We got hemp seeds, we got seed mixes, we got all those different things you can buy in the supermarkets now, you can buy them anywhere. Eat the seeds. It's really simple. Wear the clothes when you make a choice, remember? Choose natural clothing. There are so many reasons. I only shared some of them today, I promise you. Wear natural clothing and vote for it. When you make a choice, please do consider who you vote for, what their position is in supporting this industry. So if you want to be part of decarbonizing the supply chain, this is the Hemp Plastic Company. You can get more information and go and find out more about the Hemp Plastic Company here. If you want free books, I'm giving 3 free books to anyone who signs up here, one on hemp, one on cannabis psychedelics. So you can just go to this QR code. Don't worry, I'm going to give them again in a second. And if you want to question me, if you want to argue with me about what I've said that is right or wrong, then the next 30 years are for that for me. It's like, great, prove me wrong and prove me where I can get better, where we can get better, how we can improve together. Then I want to do that with you. I want to be part of this conversation because it is a conversation. So thank you very much for listening to me. There's all the QR codes again in if you need. Probably only have a couple of minutes for questions, but I'm really happy to take any here. And if you want to come up, touch, and feel any of these materials, you want to have a look at my hemp briefcase and all that, what's in there, you're welcome to come and have a chat. Thank you very much for listening.